Hi friends, this is Judson here. I have your encouraging word for today coming up right here. This is going to be a short one today, a really quick story in the book of John chapter 6, verse 16 and following. Jesus just got done feeding the 5,000 on one side, and people wanted to make him king, and they started coming up to him, and Jesus was like, no, I'm not about that. And so he disappears. Now, Jesus disappears. His disciples don't. His disciples are still around, and the crowd's looking for Jesus, and they're looking for what's going on over there. And the story continues today with that, and we're going to have yet another miracle come over here today from this. John chapter 6, verse 16 says, when evening had come, his disciples went down to the sea, got into a boat, and started across the sea at Capernaum. It was now dark, and Jesus had not yet come to them. So what the idea here is this, is they're like waiting, and they are on the northern eastern side of the lake, of this big sea of where they're at, and they want to go over to another place that is going to be on the northern western side of this lake. It's a ways over and such, and about 5 or 7 miles across. And what they do is they get into a boat, and they pop out a little bit, and they sit there and they wait. They're not going out across or anything like that. They're just popping out a little bit. So there's all these crowds there, and all these crowds are looking for Jesus, and they figure Jesus is going to kind of come back at any moment here. He kind of disappears at times. He's going to come back at any moment, pop in the boat, and they were ready. They're kind of like the bank robbers who are in the getaway car, and they're in the go position, like ready to bolt out. And so what they want is Jesus to kind of come running over, jump in the boat, and then they can swim off, or they can go rowing away. And they wait. It's nighttime. Jesus doesn't show up. This is a time before cell phones. Remember that time before cell phones when someone you thought was going to be there, and you're like, do we go now? Do we go later? What do we do? And the disciples say, they thought they're supposed to go to Capernaum. Let's go to Capernaum. Maybe Jesus is going to walk there or something like that. Maybe he's going to take a plane or a donkey or something like that. Maybe there's other solutions, but it got to a point where there's still kind of a crowd about. And we're going to see about that. But they start taking off. So it's nighttime, and they're out in the water. Now it was now dark, and Jesus had not yet come to them. Verse 18: the sea became rough because a strong wind was blowing. When they had rowed about 3 or 4 miles, they saw Jesus walking on the sea and coming near the boat, and they were frightened. Now, I want to make sure I'm being clear here. One of the elements in the ancient world is everyone didn't swim. Like today, everyone knows how to swim. We have swimming pools, and we see the water as a source of enjoyment and joy and whatnot. And obviously, they had fishing and ocean-going craft and whatnot, but they weren't the strongest of boats. And actually, fishing was an incredibly dangerous job. And being in the water and being in a boat was an incredibly dangerous thing, because when these storms would come over, and if they sacked the boat or whatever, usually there was a loss of life. It was very dangerous to be out in the water at nighttime. It was very dangerous to be out in the water during a storm. You always wanted to keep your boat near the shore, that on the blind hope that if your boat did get wrecked, you can maybe jump on a piece of wood or something like that and float into land and survive that. But swimming long distances, or even being in a boat or a craft that's able to survive strong storms, these are all very dangerous situations. So these guys are out there, they're swimming. The storm comes up, and here comes Jesus walking. And he's walking straight to them. He's not like he's walking by. He's walking straight to them. And they're thinking, what in the world? And the reason why I was telling you all that stuff about the sea earlier is a lot of times in ancient literature, and especially in the Bible, the sea was associated with chaos. If you wanted to talk about something that was chaos, you talked about the sea, because the ocean is something that is joyful and fun when you're on the beach or whatever, but it is absolute chaos and wreaks havoc on you. And man at that point was not as comfortable being over the power of the ocean. We have very secure ocean-going vessels today now, but it was very different in Jesus' time. Anyways, so Jesus comes walking, just chilling, walking on the water, coming over to them, and they're scared. I don't blame them. I'd be scared in that situation too. But he said to them, "It is I, do not be afraid." Then they were glad to take him into the boat, and immediately the boat was at the land where they were going. And it's kind of interesting. So Jesus comes over and he says, "Hey, it's I." And he tells them not to be afraid. I'm here. And they're like, "Oh, it's Jesus." And they're glad that it's Jesus. And when he gets in the boat, they're immediately at their destination. It's not that, they kind of teleport over there. And, this is a story where God is able to lead people through water to safety. That is what this kind of story is about in regards to that. Is there another Bible story that talks about God is able to lead his people through water to safety? The story of Exodus and Moses, where he comes up to the Red Sea, where God leads them up to that Red Sea, and that God is able to lead his people through water on dry land. In that situation, they're walking. In that situation, there's no boats involved or anything of that nature, but they are led through water to safety. And this is exactly what Jesus is able to do over here. The reason why we have this story, the reason why we have this miracle here, and Jesus doesn't want everyone to be able to see this. This is only for the disciples to be able to see. Is for us to be able to, once again, to be able to see that Jesus is this new Moses type of character, this new prophet type of character, that he's doing things greater than Moses did. And that he is able to lead and guide us and deliver us from the chaos of the sea and these other various things through these various difficult times. Well, the next few verses over here are just kind of some detective work, because people are, once again, they were looking for Jesus, and they saw the disciples leave on a boat, and they didn't see Jesus with them, so they're trying to figure out where in the world is he. Verse 22. And it says, "On the next day, the crowd remained on the other side of the sea, and saw that there had only been one boat there, and that Jesus had not entered the boat with his disciples, but that his disciples had gone away alone. The other boats from Tiberias came near the place where they had eaten bread after the Lord had given thanks. So when the crowd saw that Jesus was not there, nor his disciples, they themselves got into boats and went to Capernaum seeking Jesus." They're looking around and they're doing detective work, and they're going like, hey, Jesus, he was here feeding people. We didn't see him get in the boat with the disciples. We saw his disciples leave without him. But they know where the disciples were going. He was going to Capernaum. So the only thing they can do is just follow that. But they don't know how Jesus is going to be able to get over there. And we're going to see that they're going to find out about Jesus' miracle here next time. Thank you very much for joining us. I'll catch you guys next time. God bless. Bye.